Welcome to Logic versus Emotions, where we explore the space between what we know and what we feel. I'm your host, Solace, and I want to thank you for joining me on this journey of healing, growth, and truth. Whether you are single, dating, married, committed, or in between stages, you are welcome here. This podcast is for those who want to better themselves, not just for a partner, but for the person in the mirror. This breakup has been a masterpiece of cliches. We've grown apart, she'd said, standing in the middle of our living room, which was, by the way, decorated mostly with his money. I need to find myself, and I need to find my security deposit, he mumbled under his breath. It had been 3 weeks. The grief had passed and was replaced by a more pragmatic and, frankly, more energizing emotion, financial outrage. He wasn't after some amorphous closure. No, what he wanted was a precise accounting. He decided to treat the relationship like a business partnership, ending in bankruptcy, and it was time to collect his assets. He made a list on a legal pad: the Netflix password, the set of expensive knives he bought for her birthday, the Bluetooth speaker she used exclusively for her weird whale song meditation music. The list grew. He was a detective building a case. Her emotional infidelity was a misdemeanor, but her theft of his kitchen appliances, that was a felony. The big one, though, was the emotional investment. Where was the return on investment on that? He couldn't put a price on the hours he'd spent listening to her talk about her ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend's cat, but he would certainly try. His first move was to revoke her Netflix access. He knew this one was a low blow, a petty, modern-day equivalent of throwing her clothes out on the lawn. The next morning, her text was a furious storm of capital letters. "My account isn't working." "It's mine," he texted back with an emoji of a single unsmiling face. "Your access has been terminated." He was feeling emboldened. His next target, the knives. He sent a simple business-like email. Subject: asset retrieval. "Hi, please be advised that I will be coming by Saturday, 10 a.m. to collect the knives purchased on July 15th, 2023. Best, signed Mark." Saturday morning arrived. He walked up to her door, a large empty Tupperware container under his arm. She opened the door, looking haggard. "You really came for the knives?" she asked, incredulous. "In my half of the Himalayan salt lamp," he replied, gesturing to the pink rock glowing menacingly on her coffee table. It was an investment in holistic wellness, and he believed his share of the benefits were due. She glared at him, but he held his ground. She grudgingly presented the knives, wrapping each one in a tea towel like a hostage. The knives were just the beginning. The emotional debt was the real prize. He decided to collect on that too. He created an invoice. Mark versus Sarah. Emotional services rendered. Itemized list. Listening to ex-boyfriend stories, 46 hours at $25 an hour, that's $1,150. Pretending to care about kale smoothie recipes, 18 hours at $15 an hour. Total, $270. Attending her cousin's wedding where they knew nobody, one weekend, negotiable. Open a trade, possibly her dad's lawnmower. He printed the invoice and put it in a crisp white envelope, along with a formal demand letter that read, "To whom it may be concerned, this is a final notice regarding outstanding emotional and financial investment." He handed her the envelope. She looked at him like he had gone mad. She started to cry. Truly Oscar-worthy performance this time. "How can you put a price on our love?" she sobbed. "I can't," he said simply, "but I can put a price on those knives, the speaker, and the fact that I drove to your cousin's wedding, which was in a barn, in the middle of a torrential downpour, and that he had to sleep on a cot in a room with her Uncle Steve, who snores like a walrus. She stopped crying. The outrage in her eyes was a familiar look. "Fine," she said, huffed, pushing a check toward him across the table. "Just leave." He picked it up and smiled. "One last thing," he said, pausing at the door. "The speaker, the Well Song playlist, they're my emotional compensation. Thank you and goodbye." He walked away, a sense of deep and abiding satisfaction swelling inside him. She could have that closure. He had the Bluetooth speaker and the sound of wells calling to him from the deep, lonely ocean, and that, he decided, was better. All right, fam, let's talk about closure. We treat closure like a Target return policy. Here's my receipt for 2 years of my life. I'd like my refund in cash, please. But baby, real life doesn't work like that. Relationships don't come with receipts. You can't just walk up to the customer service counter of life like, "Hi, yes, I'd like my piece back and maybe a store credit for my tears." Now, let me tell y'all, 2 of my friends are engaged, well, were, and whew, this situation got more drama than a Tyler Perry marathon. He says, "I lost interest because she has no drive, doesn't contribute financially, and she went from size 6 to size 16. First of all, sir, if you couldn't handle a size 16, you didn't deserve the love of a size 6. You want a gym membership, not a girlfriend. Bye." And sis clapped back like, "Oh, really? Really though? You've been verbally abusive, throwing things, gave me an STD, damn, and now you want to give me a 6-month eviction notice?" Then she hit him with the, "What do I get for all my love and support?" And I said, "Girl, if love came with receipts, we'd all be lined up like, 'Hi, I'd like to return my dignity for store credit, please.'" We crave closure because deep down we want justice, validation, and answers. But baby, here's the gospel truth. The people who broke you usually don't have the power to fix you. It's like expecting the same kid who knocked over your Lego castle to rebuild it. Sir, you don't have the patience or the emotional motor skills for that. Job chapter 2 verse 9 says, "Are you still trying to maintain your integrity? Curse God and die." Whew. Job's own wife said that. Sometimes the folks closest to you can't give you the healing that you need. We want fair endings, especially when we gave up everything. Dreams, jobs, maybe even our hair edges. But not every goodbye comes with justice. That's why God is like, "Vengeance is mine." Because if it were ours, we'd be out here sending invoices for emotional damages. Let's make it plain, church. Closure is not a gift they give you, a refund for your wasted time, or that Oscar-worthy apology you've been rehearsing in your head since 2021. If closure depended on them, half of us would still be in the drive-thru like, "Yeah, can I get my healing supersized? Extra forgiveness on the side, please." Closure isn't a receipt. It's a release. Say it with me. It's a release. Cry, yell, journal. But stop waiting for them to issue a refund they don't have. Psalms chapter 147 verse 3 says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." Let's be real. Their apology is not gonna fix your credit score, fam. Stop saying, "I wasted 2 years." Say, "I invested 2 years, and God showed me what love is not." Romans chapter 8 verse 28 says, "All things work together for good." Translation, Even your heartbreak has a promotion potential. Matthew chapter 18 reminds us, forgiveness is not about keeping score, it's about canceling debt. Because honestly, they don't even have the emotional currency to pay you back. If closure worked like receipts, we'd all be at the counter. Yes, I'd like a return for this STD, please. Oh, can I exchange 3 years of emotional labor for a peaceful weekend getaway? Also, I'd like store credit for the confidence I lost in the process. But God said, baby, stop looking for a refund. I'm about to restore you with interest. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20 says God can do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or think. So while you're out here crying over a return, God's over there processing your restoration order. Family, closure isn't what they hand you. It's what God grows in you. Isaiah chapter 61 verse 7 says, instead of shame, you will receive a double portion. So go ahead and rip up that imaginary receipt. You don't need it. God already processed your return and upgraded your blessing. No receipts required, baby. Here's our call to action. Write down the receipts you think they owe you. Time, loyalty, money, peace, and then pray over it and literally tear it up. Pray, Lord, help me release the debts they can't repay and trust you to restore me with interest. Fam, if you take nothing else from this episode, remember this. Closure is not a receipt, it's a release. You don't need to hear their "I'm sorry" to heal. You don't need their explanation to move on. And you don't need a final conversation to make peace with what God has already settled. Sometimes we wait for people to hand us something that only heaven can deliver. Psalms chapter 147 verse 3 says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. That means healing was never in your partner's hands. It's always been in God's hands. So tonight, I dare you, let go of the receipts. Tear them up. Release what they can't repay. Because God doesn't issue refunds. He restores with interest. And as Isaiah chapter 61 verse 7 reminds us, instead of shame, you will receive a double portion. That's your promise. That's your closure. You don't need permission to move forward. You are free. Until next time, fam, keep discovering, embracing, and submitting. This is Solace, and you've been listening to Logic versus Emotion.